All right. Next up is a guy that I hung out with for a lot today, and so I don't feel compelled to say anything nice about him. Here's a piece of shit. His name is Griffin Collins.
Hi, Griffin.
How are we doing tonight? Alright, that was a shitty response. Let's keep moving. I've had a lot of job interviews recently. I love job interviews because it means, like, for an entire hour, I just get a lie. Like imagine an honors job interview. They're like, tell us about a time you worked in a team. Well, my freshman year, I got together a group of my peers and we competed in a case race. We had to drink 30 beers in 30 minutes. And we really came together and we won. And I'd tell you more, but I really don't remember. Tell us about a time you failed. Well, there was this one party where I puked at 8:30. And then I got it together, persevered, I rallied, and then I puked again. And then I called my mom. My favorite question is definitely, why did you apply to this job? Because 90% of the time, it's because I didn't have to write a cover letter. I would rather miss out on my dream job than just hit the 3 fucking keys to like replace the name on my shitty high school cover letter. Like I remember if I applied to the Onion, they'd be like, yeah, you need a cover letter, a writing sample, and an ultrasound of your anus. But like McDonald's doesn't even need a resume, so fuck it, right? I had one job interview that was really shitty. Like I walk in, the dude's just an asshole, and he's texting. He texted the whole time. I'm pretty sure he Snapchatted a picture of me. And like, I know it wasn't a nice Snapchat. Like he didn't send a picture like, look at this nice fellow who wants a job from me. It's probably something like, look at his stupid face. It's so stupid. So like, I'm a math major, I'm trying to prove to this guy like I'm good at math. Because he asked me, he's like, prove to me you're good at math. And like, I don't know how to do that. Because like, how do you explain you're good at integrals to someone who would probably just be like, is that a kind of donut, fatty? So I'm telling him about like my coursework and shit. And he interrupts me in the middle of it and goes, what's 7 divided by 16? And it took every ounce of just like patience in my body and not be like, 7/16, you fucking moron! This is what I asked him, like the decimal? He's like, yeah, 7 divided by 16. This fucker wanted me to do long division, because you know who's really good at math? 4th graders. This dude is gonna have an entire analytics department wearing diapers. Well, actually, maybe I was the only one still wearing a diaper in the 4th grade. But that doesn't matter. Like, you know how some companies have just like coffee on tap for everyone and it's free, so you can drink? I just imagine like, one day this guy's like, Robbie, is that your 4th bottle today? It's been a real stressful day, Bill. Real stressful. Toys R Us recently filed for bankruptcy, which made the kid in me really sad. And the adult in me just go, oh, thank God. I remember as a kid, like my parents never wanted to go to Toys R Us, which I never understood because who wouldn't want to stand between 2 giant piles of G.I. Joe action figures and Bratz dolls just as your sexuality started to bud? And I always remember, like, I'd ask them, like, can we go to Toys R Us? And they'd say things like, maybe another time, or no, or fuck it, we'll go! And like it makes sense, because I feel like taking 4 kids to Toys R Us is like trying to take care of 4 coked out sorority girls at Taco Bell. Like they're just like running around and stealing shit and pooping everywhere. Like I try to imagine taking like 3 or 4 little me's to like Toys R Us. They'd like knock over an entire thing of Razor scooters, get into a fight with another kid, pee in the corner where they think no one can see them, but really everyone can. You know, the things my parents had to deal with. I really like bad college parties, like really bad dorm parties. Going to a bad college party and just kind of watching is kind of like when you were a kid and you would go to the zoo, except without constantly being choked by your child leash. Like you'll see a group of girls walk in and like this awkward bubble of dudes will form around them like a drop of oil in a sexually frustrated glass of water. So they get there and immediately leave, because wouldn't you? And you hear the door close, and then immediately after, just the sigh of 20 awkward dudes who have never felt more alone. Another thing I love about parties is there's always one dude who's like awkwardly hitting on girls who really shouldn't be. Like in a room of shy 8s, this dude is the one overconfident 4. He's also usually me. Another thing I love about parties is when like people make out in weird places. Like, I know you thought that bench was really secluded, but I can see you from my window. And I've been watching the whole time. I got a Tinder recently. Hasn't really been working out because, you know, the women have choices. Like, it makes sense, because like swiping right on me on Tinder is kind of like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet and just getting an entire plate of celery. Except that celery's covered in hair and saturated fat. Because I am. I'm also really bad at texting girls. Like, there was one girl, I really liked her, and we were in the same class with her, so I'm like, hey, what's the answer to number 3? And she never talked to me again. And I figure I must have been, like, too obvious, because she must have gotten the text and read it and just interpreted it like, Griffin wants to fuck me in the ass? How did she know? So, I was eating alone one day because I like to, because I don't like people. And my friend comes up to me and is like, Griff, why are you eating alone? Are you depressed? I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like, fuck you. He's like, you know, if I was depressed, I would get a therapy dog. And I've been thinking about it, because like, that'd be kind of cool getting a therapy dog. But I don't want a dog, because like, dogs like doing shit, like running and meeting people. Those are my 2 least favorite things. And so I've decided, I'm gonna get a therapy cat, because all cats do are like eat and take naps. And that's all I do. So it's already a match made in heaven. And I've decided I'm gonna get an orange tabby cat, and I'm gonna name her Potato. It was between potato, granny porn, and oatmeal, because I like to name important things after what I love. So I started looking online, right? Try to see like, oh, which cat do I want? Go to all the shelter sites, and it's bad because I just want all of them. And like, I think they'd let me get away with one therapy cat, but I'd probably be pushing it if I just showed up with like a little tribe of therapy kittens. I've also decided I would rather have a cat than a girlfriend. Because think about it this way, like, your girlfriend will never bring you a mouse that she killed for you herself. That is the only love a cat can provide. A cat named Potato. So I was in the grocery store at like 1 a.m. in the morning, pretty regular. This old lady comes up to me, she's like, excuse me, sir, but can you help me? I have bad knees. But I was real fucking high. So I thought she said, excuse me, sir, but what the hell, B? I have the police. And my first thought was, why is an old lady talking like that? Then I realized she said police, and dead ass, I looked her straight in the face. I said, they can't catch me if they can't find me. Which in hindsight probably gave her nightmares for the rest of her life. So I sprint away and I'm hiding between like the apples and the asparagus, because where else? And I see this dude walk by, so I'm like, good acting, which translates into me like standing up and rifling through bundles of asparagus while actively shouting, what excellent stocks! And so a guy comes up to me because I'm screaming out fucking asparagus at 1 in the morning. He's like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, there's just all such great asparagus. How can I only pick one? Here's my last joke for the night. So the summer before my freshman year here, I was like, I have to afford to go here. So I went and I worked in a salmon cannery in southwestern Alaska. This is totally true, by the way. And the salmon cannery was in this little town called Igigik, which I can only assume is Native Alaskan for the gag reflex. And so I knew it was going to be a weird trip, because when I took the first flight, 6 a.m. flight, I'm sitting there and the dude in front of me goes, "You know, honey, I'd like a beer with my eggs." "Yes, stewardess, the eggs and a beer." And the stewardess goes, "This is so much better than the flight to California. These are my people." "Who are your people? Alcoholics? Who orders a beer at 6 in the morning? And then who takes that order and goes, that was a good choice. That was the best thing you could have done." And so she gets to me, and I'm like, and I order some milk, because I'm a fucking pussy. And she's like, "We don't have any milk, but we do have Budweiser." Like it's a reasonable alternative. Like you go to the doctor's office and they're like, "Yeah, we know Jimmy hasn't been drinking his milk, but have you tried Budweiser?" Same shit. So, hop on a couple flights, and then I landed in King Salmon, Alaska, which is the second weirdest town I've ever been in. Second, right to Igigik, the only town in America named after the sound of choking on a fat cock. So I get there. I guess that was a little too much for some of you, alright. You guys aren't living if you haven't choked on a fat cock, Jesus. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's too much. So I get there and there are like 3 fucking things in this town. There's like a dirt road and like 2 bars. So I get there and I have a long layover. I'm like, "Hey, what should I do?" And they're like, "Go to the mall." I'm like, alright, fuck. So I walk down the street to the mall and just imagine like the shittiest building you've ever seen, and then painted orange. That was the mall. And I walk around and there were 2 things in this mall. There was a Wells Fargo sign, and a room with a broken washing machine and clothes strewn about the floor. And so I leave, because you can only try on other people's clothes for so long. And they have this little gift shop in town with all these things that say King Salmon, Alaska. Like someone's gonna come up to you on the streets and be like, "Oh my gosh, you've been to King Salmon? Have you been to the mall? Did you see the washing machine?" Alright, and before I leave, I'm gonna do one more thing. This is Wonderwall. Just kidding, that's my set, bye.
Griffin Collins, everybody. Griffin Collins.